Ladies and gentlemen, Tesla stock is down 2% today. Not a great day for Tesla, but it was, if I could say, one crazy ass day today. There was a lot of things that happened we need to talk about. And we have a ton of Tesla stock news today, but let's start with the biggest stories that happened in broader markets. About 3 hours ago, the US warned via their intelligence that Iran was preparing a ballistic missile attack against Israel. Ballistic missiles are much different than the drone attack that happened a couple of months ago. Drones took hours to reach Israel. They were easy to shoot down. It was basically like target practice where you have 3 hours to hit your targets. Like it was not intended to do damage. Ballistic missiles can reach Israel in 12 minutes. They are much more difficult to shoot down, almost impossible to shoot down. They travel at about 4,000 miles per hour versus drones that travel at 100 to 300 miles per hour. So it's a big difference. Well, about 30 minutes ago, it was reported that these missiles made contact with Israel, and it looks like quite a few of them actually hit their targets. We don't know how many were shot down, if any were shot down, but this was definitely a large-scale attack on Israel. The question now remains, what comes next? Does Israel attack back? And it looks certain that they will. Iran wrote this to the UN. They say Iran's legal, rational, and legitimate response to the terrorist acts of the Zionist regime, which involved targeting Iranian nationals and interest in infringing upon the national sovereignty of the Islamic Republic of Iran, has been duly carried out. Should the Zionist regime dare to respond or commit further acts of malevolence, a subsequent and crushing response will ensue. Regional states and the Zionist supporters are advised to part ways with the regime. A White House official on Tuesday warned that any direct attack on Israel by Iran will carry severe consequences for Iran. So nobody really knows what comes next. Israel does have the tendency to respond quickly to events when they want to do something. They don't wait around and sit around like Iran did. They tend to act quickly. So unfortunately, the scenario in the Middle East could now rapidly deteriorate if Israel does respond, and it looks certain that they will. And I do think this is a problem for markets, depending on the implications for US involvement. Who really picks sides here? Does Russia pick sides? Doesn't look likely. Does China pick sides? Doesn't look likely, but there could be a larger conflict, and we know this won't be good for international trade, maybe oil markets, but we'll have to see. Either way you really want to break this down, it's not good for equities because it creates more uncertainty. Next up, we did see the first day of the port strike today. There are fears that this could reignite inflation and could have a large economic impact if this thing does go on for even a couple of days. Although I'm really not concerned about the inflationary pressures from this port strike shutdown, I do think the damage to the economy could be a lot larger than anyone's anticipating. JP Morgan has a $5 billion a day estimate out that it's going to cost the US economy $5 billion for every day this strike is ongoing. But I don't think that really includes the local communities. I don't think that includes the striking, families and the businesses that relied on those striking families, because not everyone in every state that's striking, because there's a lot of states involved in this, will get unemployment benefits. California, Michigan, some more, if you will, left-leaning states do have laws that allow you to collect unemployment benefits, but not all states do. So I think that's another aspect. And then what happens internally at companies? If companies are unable to sell products, they're probably going to stop making products. And what kind of impact is that going to have? RSM chief economist Joseph Bralses says, quote, labor action by port workers along the eastern Gulf Coast of the United States will provide a modest hit to GDP. He put a weekly impact at a bit more than 0.1 percentage point of gross domestic product and 4.3 billion in lost imports and exports. Given that the American economy is on a 3% growth path at this time, we do not expect the strike to derail the trajectory of the domestic economy or present a risk to an early or unnecessary end to the current economic expansion. But let's all be honest, the economy is not growing at 3%. In fact, Jerome Powell basically told us that. He said GDP is kind of worthless right now. We really want to look at the employment market just to see how strong the economy is. Now, with that said, let's get into some Tesla stock news today. And we do have a note from Adam Jonas. He says over 80% of Tesla's full year 2024 revenues are derived from their automotive activities. Easily 90% of incoming client questions are focused on short-term auto-related data such as Q3 deliveries. As Tesla's CEO makes further progress on building out its inference swarm, cars, robots, and AI compute infrastructure, including XAI, we believe investors will see a clearer picture of the overlapping surface area between Tesla and other parts of the Musk economy, particularly the evolving relationship between XAI and Tesla. Tesla Korea has introduced a 0% interest promotion for Q4. They are offering a 0% interest rate on loans of up to 60 months for the Model Y rear-wheel drive and Model Y long range. This is what the zero teasers were referring to on the Tesla Korea social pages. It's not robo-taxi related after all. GM has begun deliveries of the entry-level Chevy Equinox EV, making it the least expensive new EV on sale in the US with over 300 miles of range, a starting price of $27,495, and an EPA range of 319 miles. Ford CEO Jim Farley says, quote, we're getting out of the boring car business and into the iconic vehicle business. Another wave of FSD for Cybertruck owners has just started rolling out to more owners. This is the third wave since last night. Tesla last night released some new improvements for Actually Smart Summon ASS with FSD v12.5.4.1 with improved public high-speed road aborts, improved blocked camera aborts, reduced false positive collision mitigation aborts, defined dumb summon, and added custom fart completion sounds. And yesterday, Tesla won dismissal of a shareholder lawsuit alleging misleading statements about self-driving capabilities propped up its stock price. Quote, plaintiffs failed to connect Musk's hands on management with any information that he allegedly learned, rendering his statements false or misleading, the judge wrote. In her ruling, U.S. District Judge Arakali Martinez rejected shareholders' allegations that Elon overstated Tesla's self-driving technology with assurances that drivers could go to sleep in their car by 2020, among other promises. She found that some of the alleged overstatements concerned future plans, while others weren't necessarily false. Ford lowered the monthly price for its hands-free driving technology to about $50 from $75. The annual plan will now cost $495, nearly half of the older price tag of $800. It's being reported that Tesla increased its market share in Sweden in 2024 despite a labor conflict targeting it for almost a year. Tesla sold 16,478 cars in Sweden in the first 9 months of the year, up 1% year over year, lifting Tesla's market share to 8.5% in 2024 from 7.8%. The Tesla Energy account on X confirms that Tesla has installed 750,000 Powerwalls worldwide. Canaccord Genuity analyst Giannis, in a new Tesla note, says this, quote, EVs and hybrids are crushing the traditional auto market despite all the negative hullabaloo around EVs. The problem most Western OEMs have, in our strong opinion, is their lack of readiness to compete effectively in these segments. The data tells us this story. ICE vehicle sales in China are way down. EVs and especially hybrids are growing strong, and Tesla, a Western OEM, is holding its own in a highly competitive China auto market because it has a compelling EV and the others don't. We expect at least part of the story for Q3 to be the comeback of the EV and hybrid. Maybe EVs aren't dead after all. Elon Musk writes on X about 3 hours ago that almost all vehicles will be purely electric long term. Combustion cars will be a niche, like horses. This morning, ISM manufacturing PMIs came out. They missed on the headline. You were expecting 47.5. We came in at 47.2, unchanged from last month. New orders came in at 46.1. The estimate was 46, so that beat a little bit. Prices paid came in at 48.3. The estimate was 53.3, so that missed a lot. So really, prices down. Orders came in line. So those two things are good. But employment came in at 43.9, a plummeting from the estimate of 47. So employment did not come in good in the manufacturing report today. And I think that worries Wall Street, at least somewhat. The JOLTS job openings came in good today. We were expecting around 7.65 million. That was roughly the same estimate that we had prior. Last month was revised up from 7.65 million to 7.71 million. And the headline number for August came in at 8.04 million. So came in about 300,000 job openings higher than was expected. That on face value is good. What are the revisions going to do? And the question is, how accurate is this data? I think markets take it for what it is, but I don't think this data is very accurate, me personally. We did get some Fed speakers today, but considering the Israel news, the port lockdown, markets really didn't pay attention to any of these Fed speakers. They really didn't move the markets in that sense. Dallas Fed Services Index came in at negative 2.6. The estimate was negative 4, so that actually beat. Now, what's interesting about today, Tesla stock really has been in the red all day. You're still seeing short sellers covering on short positions. You do have about 180,000 shares that are being covered today. If we take a look at the short interest of free float for Tesla, it's sitting at 2.76% with $20.09 billion sold short. You do have 76.77 million shares that are currently still sold short. Option activity today on the call sides, 59.23% calls and 40.77% puts. If we take a look at institutional option activity today in Tesla stock, you have seen 207 different trades totaling $97.09 million with a positive order value of 81%. If we take a look at sentiment today for Tesla stock, you are bearish at 36. Yesterday, you were neutral at 49, so more bearish today than yesterday. Message volume is high at 57. Yesterday was normal at 48, and the participation ratio today is high at 56. Tesla's global inventory numbers popping up a little bit for the Model Y, quite a bit actually, from 4,800 to 5,800, so about 1,000 vehicle pop in inventory there. The Model 3 also popped from 3,000 vehicles in inventory up to about 3,600 vehicles in inventory, so a bit of a pop there. Model X at 3,400 and the Model S at about 2,200. Tesla continues to run about 4,000 different ads with Google, and Google trend data for Tesla is going higher, but not doing too much. The Cybertruck is actually falling from 41 to 40. The Model Y going from 22 to 23. The Model 3 is actually falling from 21 to 20. The Model S at 9 and the Model X at 7. Wedbush says Tesla Q3 deliveries set to beat forecast and the Robotaxi event to unveil game-changing tech. It says here Tesla is expected to report Q3 deliveries above market forecast, while the Robotaxi event is likely to unveil some game-changing autonomous technology. Wedbush said in a note on Tuesday. The company is expected to announce on Wednesday Q3 deliveries above the market estimate of 462,000 units, with projections between 465,000 and 470,000 units, according to the note. Wedbush analysts maintain their outperform rating and $300 price target for Tesla. In the next video, I will go over specifically my delivery target again for Tesla and my expectations for Tesla stock following what really has been a decline for Tesla over the past 2 days or so. At one point it was looking pretty ugly. You've fallen about 2% from Tesla's highs a couple days ago, but at one point today at the lows you would have been down over 6% over the past 2 days. So we'll talk about what this means for Tesla heading into tomorrow and what I think is coming next for Tesla stock. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this video. Stay tuned to the channel for the next video coming out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.